Hey guys, welcome to my patch 16.7 summary and game plan video. For those of you who don't know who I am a challenger player from OCE who recently placed 12th at regionals, just shy of making it to worlds unfortunately. So really not a lot of big changes this patch. Starting off with the 2 costs, we have a damage buff to 3-star Teemo. Still probably doesn't mean that you can reroll Teemo. Reroll Yordle is just not that great at the moment, and I don't think it will ever be. Tristana is also getting a damage buff to all star levels. Again, just like Teemo, I don't think we can reroll Tristana. This just means that Tristana might be a little better at holding items if you get it from like birthday present or something like that. For our 3 costs, we have a self-heal buff to Kabuko at all star levels. Vayne is also getting a spell damage buff at all levels. We saw Vayne reroll a couple patches ago, and back then it was like one of the only 3 cost rerolls. Currently, the premier 3 cost reroll comps are like Malzahar Zoe, Noxus, Ahri, and Jinx. So with these buffs to Vayne, we might be able to see her at the same power level as these other 3 cost reroll comps. For our 4 costs, we have a damage buff to AD Kai'Sa. At the moment, AP Kai'Sa is slightly better than AD Kai'Sa, but with these changes, that might put them both at a similar power level. Seraphine was pretty strong a couple patches ago in the Lissandra Seraphine comp, but after the changes to unlockables, she's kind of fallen out of the meta in favor of these other AP carries like Ryze and Mel, for example. So with the buffs to Seraphine spell damage, we might see Lissandra Seraphine as a strong comp again. Yunara is pretty much falling out of the meta with the changes to the Yone unlockable. With this attack speed buff to Yunara, we might see some 5 Ionia Yunara comps again. For our 5 costs, we're getting a spell damage buff to Aatrox. Aatrox just doesn't see that much play at the moment. You might see him in Ionia Yone, but other than that, you basically never see Aatrox in play. Galio is on basically every board now, given how easy he is to unlock now. So because of that, they're giving him an armor MR nerf, which is also going to be nerfing his damage because his damage is based on his armor and MR. Ryze, probably one of the strongest AP carries at the moment, so he's getting a spell damage nerf at 1 and 2 stars. Sylas, also up there with Ryze as one of the strongest AP carries, he's getting a small attack speed nerf. T-Hex has dominated the meta in 2 patches this set, and they also nerfed him to Oblivion twice this set. So now for the 3rd time, they're trying to bring him back up a little bit by giving him a bit of a base 80 buff, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make him a threat this patch. Finally, we have a nerf to Xerath, specifically his charms, so things like his Golem and the item anvil. Lastly, we have the Augment Changes. So firstly, we've got a 5% nerf to Ascension. I'd say it's still takeable if you're playing solo comps like Jinx, for example, where your 3-star Sejuani is just tanking for the entire fight. Aura farming has been delayed from 4-2 to 4-3, which is only 1 round, but it is still pretty significant because 4-2 is when everyone else is rolling for their boards and spiking. So if you don't have your 2-star 5 cost, then that might be 1 extra round you'll lose, and hence you're going to be down 1 life throughout the rest of the game. Bringer of Ruin is getting a slight nerf, but I reckon it's still fine to take if you have a Noxus opener. Malicious Monetization is having its initial gold being nerfed from 10 to 7, but still going to be pretty good to take if you have a strong board on 4-2. Promise Protection is getting disabled. This item augment is just not as good compared to the other ones, like the one that gives you a Spirit Visage or a Bramble Vest. Wild Growth now only shows up on 3-2. For our Prismatic Augments, we have Component Heist, which is increasing from 4 play combats to 5 play combats before you get your item components. Dragon Guards is getting a shield and damage nerf, and Walk the True Path is being disabled. So that's it for the augments, and that's basically all the changes this patch. Before we finish off the video, I'm going to go through a quick game plan for this patch, which is going to be pretty similar to patch 16.6. So here I've got a Google Docs of my patch 16.7 game plan. I'll have a link to it below, but pretty much everything's going to be nearly exactly the same as patch 16.6. So it's still a level 7 reroll and a fast line meta where you're going to be capping around AP units like Ryze and Sylas. In the early game, you're going to be considering these strong unlockables like LeBlanc and Orianna to help you build a strong board. If you have a weak opener, then you can either continue to hold pairs and then try to win streak once you hit those pairs. You can take an augment that gives you direction, so augments like Aura farming, Worth the Wait, or Emblems, or you can make 10 gold on the last round of neutrals by playing 1 unit, so Briar, Kiana, Viego, Caitlyn, or Sona, and then just econ up and then roll for Bard on 2-3. And then you want to play towards like one of these comps where they have unlockable units, so like Nidalee Skarner, Kai'Sa, Rift Herald, Yone Ahri reroll, Warwick Jinx reroll, Mao Zoe reroll, or Noxus reroll. As for the comps, it's going to be pretty much the exact same as last patch. So we have Yone Ahri reroll, we have Warwick Jinx reroll. For these 2 comps, you don't have to reroll them. You can just go straight to level 8 and then straight to level 9. Just depends on how healthy you are, how much gold you have, how many copies of the units you have. We have Malzahar Zoe reroll, we've got Noxus reroll, and the only new addition really is Vayne reroll, which is basically the same as what it looked like a couple patches ago. So you can carry the Kai'Sa if you want to, but this comp will require a lot of items to itemize everyone. We've got Demacia Flex, Bilgewater, Void. This is just a top 4 comp unless you can make it to Baron Nashor, Nidalee Ishtar. Fast line comps, we've got Lucian Senna, Ryze, you got the Frodo variation or the Demacia variation. We have Mel and we have Annie. So yeah, that's pretty much all the comps, and yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, check out my Metafy and my Twitch, and I will catch you guys in the next one.